Hello BookTube. So this is my first TBR or to be read for the month of July. I would say it's that time again. I can't believe it is, but seeing as how this is my first video, but I'm used to watching everybody else's. So just so you kind of know what my TBRs will hold every month. So I read a little bit of everything. I am an eclectic reader, and because of that I try to hit multiple genres every time I read. So for this month I'm going to start with A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations. So these are both classics. They came together as an ebook. If I can figure out how, I'm going to be inserting pictures so that you can see the book covers. I always like seeing that when I watch other videos, so I'm going to try to do that as well. So the next book on my TBR for this month is Every Heart a Doorway. This is a completely cool concept that I've never heard before, and I heard about it from a couple of booktubers. This was in their wrap up from the previous month, so I picked it up because the concept sounded really cool. I'll try to link their videos either in annotations or in the description box below if I can't figure out how to do that. The premise of this book is really original. It's what happens to children who have traveled to far and away and exotic and unique worlds. What happens when they come home? How do they deal with integrating back into society, or do they ever? What made those worlds drawn to you, or you to those worlds? Is it a two-way street? This book in particular, so I've already started it. I couldn't wait. I downloaded it last night and read 50% of it before I passed that on my Kindle. So it starts off wonderfully. It really draws you in. It's not a very complex novel, but I love the concept, and I don't know if this is going to be a series or not. I hope so. So far it's turning out to be a really great book, and I'm really looking forward to finishing it, and it'll be in my wrap-up. I'm sure I'll finish it later today for this month. The next book on my TBR is Tooth and Claw. This was another recommendation from BookTube, and it's been described, I don't really know that much about it, but it's been described as Pride and Prejudice with dragons. So those are two things I like quite a bit. I have one tattoo and it's of a dragon, so I like this concept a whole lot, and it's the kind of dragon that I also like. So it's not the mindless nomming things kind of dragon. It's not Game of Thrones burn things to a cinder. It's actually a society of dragons. They have their own rules, they have hierarchy, they have a social structure, they amass wealth, they worry about their families, and so far from what I know about it, it sounds like a really great concept, and I'm really looking forward to getting into the book. I've only read the first chapter just to make sure that I am interested in the overall concept, because, you know, Pride and Prejudice with dragons sounds amazing, but that could also go horribly, horribly wrong. I'm one chapter in, and I do think this is going to be an excellent book, and I can't wait to share what my thoughts are. Pride, Prejudice, and dragons. Yes. Another book that I want to get to this month is The City of Mirrors by Justin Cronin. I think that's how you say his name. This is the third book in the Passage trilogy. So The Passage was great. I liked the concept. It's about the passage from basically a pre-apocalypse sort of time into a post-apocalypse time, and how people dealt with that transition and what caused it. It has a mad scientist sort of feel, so there are scientists doing experiments in ways that they shouldn't on things that they shouldn't, and one of them becomes infected, and he is essentially patient zero. They call him Zero. Zero is then used as a test subject on 12 prisoners, and the prisoners are subjected to this against their will. Basically, they're held captive and their histories are erased, and it's what happens when, like every movie and every book ever written, science goes AWOL. So when this infection that they bred, the 12 and Zero, infects the world, and how the world deals with that. That book was amazing. The second book is The 12, which I loved the concept. Hearing more about the 12 prisoners and how they ended up where they were and how they fit into the new world was great. But overall, that book was horribly disappointing for me. The ending was just not what I expected, and not, I think, as well written as the first book. The third book is The City of Mirrors, and I am very excited about it. I really hope that it's going to tie the series together really well and circle back to some of the topics I really enjoyed from The Passage. If you haven't read this series, I would definitely at least pick up the first book. Another book that I really want to get to this month is The Rook, a novel. And I don't know that much about this book either. It was another booktube recommendation, and the concept sounded really cool. So the opening statement for the description of this is, "The body you are wearing used to be mine." And the main character wakes up, I think, in a park, and she's surrounded by bodies, all wearing gloves, and she finds clues to figure out what happened to her and what she's supposed to be doing, and how, I guess, to prevent waking up, you know, knocked out with amnesia again. So I like the mystery aspect. There's also supposed to be a pretty heavy, I think, magic element, if I remember correctly. I'm not so certain about that. There was something fantastical about it that wasn't just a crime novel. So that's part of the reason I'm also interested in it. Another book that, if I have time, I'm going to try to get to is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. This has been on my TBR for a very, very long time, mainly because of the cover art. I really enjoy the cover art. It's set in a time period in England that I really like, and it is a novel that kind of touches on, they think magic is dead in London, and then a magician announces himself as being a true magician, and he takes an apprentice, and then things go kind of haywire. And that's all I really know about it, but it sounds good. It's been recommended multiple times by people I follow on Goodreads and by other friends, so I'm gonna finally get to it and see how it actually is. That is all for my TBR for July. I hope you liked this video, and if you have any recommendations that are Victorian England or dragon related, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below. It was nice chatting, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Bye.